Good evening, everyone. It's Wednesday. Welcome to the last Water Wednesday before the election. I'm Tiffany Boyd Hodgson. I am running for Vallecitos Water District, Division number 5, and it is up for election in the upcoming election in 6 days. So tonight is the last Water Wednesday before the election. What I have done typically during these broadcasts is I talk to you a little bit about water, a little bit about the Vallecitos Water Board. I talked to you about why I'm the best candidate, and I'm planning on doing that again tonight. And I'm going to finish early-ish so that there's plenty of time for questions if you would like to ask questions. I always take questions from the public at the end. My promise to you is that if I don't know the answer, I will get in touch with you. I'll find the answer and then I'll get back to you. So welcome. Thanks for joining. If you're watching this at a later time after the live broadcast, thank you for watching. This broadcasts through my website, through YouTube, Twitch, and of course my Facebook page. So thank you for joining. I'm very grateful. The campaign is coming to an end and we are winding things down as far as sort of the administrative stuff. We're continuing to work really hard though to reach voters. There are a lot of voters that haven't voted. So I am finding new people every day that either have just voted and have supported me, which is really encouraging, or they have not voted and they don't know anything about water. They don't know about the water board. They don't know that it's an elected body. So it's really gratifying to be able to educate them about that and about why I'm the best candidate and then ask for their vote. And that's happened many, many times. So it's encouraging. You know, with this race, a lot of people said, well, how are you doing? What's your feeling about it? I don't know. It's really hard because, it's a grassroots effort. We have not conducted any polling. Here comes one of the humans, the little humans that lives in the house with me.
Nice.
I'm live. Can you go, please? I'm live. Thank you.
That's so mean.
I'll talk to you in a little bit. Yeah, that's always the case that might happen because I'm actually in the middle of the house right now. I'm not behind a closed door or anything. And the baby humans, they often need things from me. So sometimes they come and check in and they make an appearance on the show. But what I was saying was, we're in the home stretch. We are getting really positive feedback. I don't know the answer of how we're doing. I really don't because it's a grassroots campaign. We didn't conduct any formal polling. And, all I can tell you is that we're calling a lot of people. A lot of people are being really kind and they're saying nice things and they're providing positive feedback. But we'll know soon. We'll know in 6 days. We'll know how we have done in 6 days. And I'm really proud of the campaign that we have run. We have worked very hard. And I've had a team of volunteers that have just been really, really just conscientious. I've had a team of staff that has worked with me that has really shaped the campaign, and we've worked really hard. So I think we've done a good job. And, whether or not it's enough to get us over the finish line, I just don't know. But hopefully it will be, and we'll know soon enough. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So these broadcasts are designed to stand alone. And therefore, there will be some content that if you've ever watched this before, you'll see some content that you've seen before. But you can also watch these in sequence. And you may see some things that you've never seen before. And that's okay, too. So let me share my screen. This always just takes a minute. Just 1 minute. And as a reminder, when I am sharing my screen, if you type questions into the comment box, I cannot see your questions, so I can't answer those questions until I have stopped sharing my screen. But please ask me questions. I appreciate that. Everything's a little bit slow tonight, so hopefully this will work pretty well. So tonight is the last Water Wednesday before the election. I've already said that. It's really exciting. We have worked so hard and we've been running an aggressive grassroots campaign since April. There was no primary for this election, so the campaign started in April. And I am going to encourage you tonight to complete your ballot and drop it off at the San Marcos Library. There are a lot of folks saying that if you mail it now, it may not get to the poll place by election day, or it may not get to the registrar of voters by election day. California or San Diego County is going to accept postmarked ballots as long as they're postmarked before or on November 3rd. They will accept them, I believe, 17 days thereafter. However, there is reason to suggest that there may be a number of federal challenges to any state that is accepting ballots past the actual day of election. So if you want to be sure, drop off your ballot at the San Marcos Library. And you can actually go to the Registrar of Voters website. You can click on a button that says, "Where's my ballot?" You can sign up to track your ballot. You can get a text and a phone call and an email, and it will tell you where your ballot is. So I encourage you to do that. If you are planning to vote the day of the election, and in San Diego County, it's not just one day. Because of COVID-19, the Registrar of Voters expanded the number of days that you can vote in person. You can vote beginning Halloween, October 31st, November 1st, November 2nd, and November 3rd. There are 4 days that you can vote in person. But here's something to be aware of. If you have voted in person in the past, the place that you have gone to vote may not be the place where you go this time around. The Registrar of Voters has consolidated their in-person polling places to try to create a more safe experience and environment for voters. So now they have super polling places. Where is your super polling place? I don't know, but you can find out really easily. You can go to the Registrar of Voters, and I have listed the URL down at the bottom. You can go to this URL, and then you can type in your address, and it'll tell you where your in-person polling place is. And bear in mind, again, it may not be the place that you're used to going to. It may not be the place that you've traditionally gone to. It might be a different place. So check before you go. But until October 31st, over the next couple of days, you can complete your ballot and you can drop it off at the San Marcos Library. That's what I did. And it was very fast. It was very efficient, very professional. They had poll watchers there that were, helping people just to double check to make sure that you had signed where you were supposed to sign and everything was as it is supposed to be. You drop it off and then you go. It took me maybe 2 minutes and there was no line. Actually, that's not true. There was one person in front of me. She had a couple of questions, so it took like 2 to 3 minutes. But then I walked up and I just I handed my ballot off and put it in the box. So you can do that. San Marcos Library. Okay. So every one of these broadcasts, I have, with the exception of the first two, I have read a land acknowledgement. I do this because I believe it's really important to acknowledge the land that we are on, acknowledge that we are not the first peoples. And I also believe that when we are talking about water and we are talking about preserving water and keeping it safe, that we must talk also about the land. And in doing so, and talking about the water and preserving it for generations to come and preserving the land, that is inextricable from the people that came before us. So I read this land acknowledgement every time, and I hope that if I make it to the board, I hope that I'm given the opportunity to continue this tradition. I think that it is very important, and I believe that it is the right thing to do. So I'll read it now. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory and homelands of the Luiseno Payam people. Cal State University San Marcos and surrounding areas are still home to the 6 federally recognized bands of the La Jolla, Pala, Palma, Pachanga, Rincon, Saboba, Luiseno Payam people. It is also important to acknowledge that this land remains the shared space among the Kupanga-Wisham and Kupeño, Kumeyaay, and Ipe peoples. We acknowledge that we are guests on traditional unceded Luiseno Payam land. So I showed this last week, and I'd like to just share with you a few of the endorsements that I have. I'm endorsed by people across the political spectrum, and that's important because this is a nonpartisan race. And it tells me that the policies that I am interested in implementing, they have wide appeal because they will work, because they put the people first and they put the water first. So I'm very proud to showcase these folks that have endorsed me. The Sierra Club has endorsed me. That was a competitive endorsement process, and I won that endorsement. Randy Walton, who is my council member, he is the San Marcos council member for Division 2 or District 2. He has endorsed me. Daryl Gentry, who is the former Vallecitos Water District Division 5 Director, he has also endorsed me, as has Mark Grasick, the president of Helix Water. A couple of other folks that I'm proud to share with you, and the full list is on my website. You can check that out. I have a number of people that have endorsed me, again, all across the political spectrum, and my website is tiffanyboydhodgson.com. You can see the full list of people that have endorsed me there. Heather Roberts, environmental advocate. Janessa Goldbeck, veteran and LGBTQI rights advocate. Steph Silver Saavedra, indigenous rights and advocate. Those folks have also endorsed me, and I'm very proud to share those with you. So what does it mean to vote for me? What does it mean? What would it look like me sitting on the water board? Well, there are a few things, and this is a slide that I show every single one of these broadcasts because these pillars of my platform, they haven't changed. And as I'll read them to you, you'll agree they're not partisan. This is a nonpartisan race, and these, again, put the people first and put the water first. So, number one, affordable, quality, reliable water for you, the ratepayer. We pay our bill to Vallecitos. We're called the ratepayer. So, being a ratepayer advocate means that I will be looking out for you. I will be looking out to make sure that we are paying a fair rate. I will be looking out for your interests. Number two, no developer subsidies, no developer money. I am taking no developer money. The incumbent took over $30,000 in 2012 from developers, then immediately got on the board and did them favors. And we're still paying for that. One of the favors was creating a policy that was also passed by the board to make it so that developers, when they pay to develop in our area, they don't have to pay when the project starts or at any time during the building of the project. They pay upon occupancy. And that has led to, among other things, a deficit in the developer fund, which is one of the two sources of income for Vallecitos. And we have no money in the developer fund, and it's expensive to run a water district. So the money has to come from somewhere. So it's coming from us. We the ratepayers, we are subsidizing development to the tune of about 15% of your water bill. 15% of my water bill is subsidizing development due to those favors that were done by the incumbent. Number three, partnering with schools and the trades for water operator training to provide good local jobs. Our economy has suffered so much with COVID-19, and it's expensive to live here. It was expensive before COVID-19, before a lot of people lost their jobs. Education is really important to me, and I firmly believe that that success isn't necessarily defined as going to a four-year college. So one of the things that I have tried to do in talking with people that are running for school board, people that are running for community college board, people in the trades, in unions, is talk to them about how do we bring up our youth through their education process and create a pathway for them to get trained, become a skilled train operator, and then come to work at Vallecitos so that they can have a good local job here, so that they can raise their families here. So that's one of the things that's one of the ideas that I have that's a little bit beyond the scope of just being a board member for Vallecitos Water. It builds community, it builds the economy, and I'm really, really looking forward to being on the board and partnering with industries and partnering with other board members to try to work that out, to try to put that in place and figure out how we can do that so that we can stimulate our economy, put people to work, and grow. Lastly, I am a scientist. I think like a scientist. I am curious. I do my due diligence. I dig into the weeds if necessary. If I am curious, if I am not satisfied with an answer, I keep digging until I get the answer that I'm satisfied with. So that is my pledge to you as far as a person on the board. I will govern using evidence, not special interests when making decisions. I am not bought by developers, so I'm not going to be beholden to them. I'm going to make decisions based on science, based on evidence, based on asking questions, based on being curious, and being able to think critically about the budget, think critically about who we are hiring, making sure that we're asking hard questions, making sure that we're not just hiring somebody who happens to know somebody on the board or happens to have given a campaign contribution to somebody on the board. we need to think more critically about those kinds of things. Science, not special interests. Okay, are you struggling with your water bill? There are a lot of people that are, and COVID-19 cases, they're not going away. They're increasing. We are peaking more now than we did during the summer. So I expect that more and more people will struggle. I have heard this program at Vallecitos called the Special Care and the Special Case Program. And you can call Vallecitos if you are struggling and request late fee waivers. You'll need to be able to provide documentation that you're suffering due to COVID-19, but give them a call, 760-744-0460. Give them a call, see what they can do. Remember that the person answering the phone or working through it with you, they have a job too, and be kind. Try to come to some agreement, try to find out what you need to show, and hopefully they can help you. This is a program that has been talked about publicly at Vallecitos Water Board meetings. It's not being heavily promoted. I'm not sure why, but I'm promoting it, and hopefully someone is seeing this that needs to see it, and they can call and see if they can get some help. Okay, so I've shown this map several times, and this is just to give you an idea of where Division 5 is. If you aren't sure if you're in Division 5, you can look on your ballot, because if you're not in Division 5, then I won't be on your ballot. But if you've just registered to vote and you don't have a ballot and you're wondering, am I in Division 5? You can find that out. You can go to the Vallecitos Water Board website. It's a very good website. It's very information dense. But if you go to the Vallecitos website and you look under Board of Directors, there's an interactive map where you can type your address in and you can find out what division you're in. You can find out if you're in Division 5 or another one. So this is the outline of where Division 5 is. I've indicated some landmarks here just to sort of give you an idea of where it is. Here's 78 up at the top. It's an upper border. There is Cal State San Marcos, Twin Oaks Valley Road, Double Peak Park, Lake San Marcos High School. Carlsbad is off this way, Escondido is off that way, and here's I-15 running over here. So if you are wondering where this is on your ballot, this is what it looks like. There's a heading that says district, and I am the first person listed. This is right in the middle of your ballot. So, make sure that you vote for all the folks that come at the top, and you probably know who you're voting for at the top. But if you don't know who you're voting for Water Board, stay tuned. stay with me. And I'm going to try to convince you of that tonight. So this is what it looks like. The heading says district, Vallecitos Water District member, Board of Directors, Division number 5. I'm the first one listed. You can vote for one. And it says Tiffany Boyd Hodgson, scientist. Okay, let's see. All right, so I've talked a lot about the developer money that the incumbent has taken. This is all public information. It's a little bit hard to find, but if you know where to look, you can find it. And when you run for office and you're a candidate, you have to file campaign finance reports. And this is taken from 2012. It shows that there's a PAC called the North County Taxpayers for Responsible Government that contributed, that was funded by developers to some extent. And then you can see that this PAC contributed to the incumbent to the tune of $30,000. I've shown you here, it says the Committee to Elect Hal Martin for Vallecitos Water District. This is his filing. This is saying, here is the PAC, the North County Government. This is how much cumulative to date. This is 2012, from January 1st to December 31st. The incumbent received $30,000 from developers. That's so much money. And at that time, the district only had about 9,500 voters. The district has grown considerably since then. It's increased by about a third. It's it's about 12,700 right now. But to receive $30,000 in donations from a group that is funded by developers, that's being bought. Frankly, it's being bought. And he showed that. when he got into office because he did developers favors that we continue to pay for. There was an article that came out this summer about, in particular, a certain group of developers that are really bad actors. They've been cited for violating environmental protection laws. And these folks have donated to the incumbent. They have given individual contributions to the incumbent. I'm talking about the De Jongs. They've also contributed, and it looks, down here it says that they've contributed $15,250 to the campaigns of 2 directors for Vallecitos Water District. The incumbent was one of them. So there's a lot of developer money that's flowing in to water board directors. And I am committed to getting that developer influence and money out. And a lot of people are not happy about that. I don't know if you follow me on social media, but the the attacks from interested people are ramping up a little bit. There are a lot of people that are interested in preserving the status quo, and rightly so. They're getting sweetheart deals, but I'm not beholden to them. I'm not bought. So you can rest assured that I have your interest in mind, that I'm going to ask hard questions, and I'm not taking any developer money. So you don't have to worry about me being bought by developers and then making decisions not based on what is best for the community and the ratepayers. So fast forward to the current election cycle. The incumbent has not raised a lot of money. In fact, I've outraised with small dollar donations both of my opponents combined. And whether that's enough to get me across the finish line, I don't know. But I have done that with small dollar donations, and I have I have not taken any developer money. The incumbent has loaned himself quite a lot of money and did not raise a whole lot of money, but did take another contribution from a developer. And I've shown that here. And again, this is all public information. You can find this. You just have to know where to look. It's on the register. It's on the, you can get there through the Registrar of Voters. It's campaign finance filings. You just have to know sort of where to look. Okay. So, one of the things that I was struck by, when I announced that I was going to run for office, I'm very busy. I have 4 kids. I also have a job, and I'm the kind of person that if I'm going to do something, I will put everything into it. And I was an elected official back in Pennsylvania before I moved, and there was no pay for that. And I found that I was spending more time being, getting involved and listening to constituents, being on the school board, than I was actually doing, my paid job. So, when someone was talking to me about running for this office, I said, well, I've heard that it's paid. I don't understand that. It seems like you should do it if you love it, but I also get it. People should be paid for their time. And the answer I got was, yeah, you get paid a couple of $100s per meeting. And I thought, oh, well, that's good. That's like a little bit of Christmas money that I can put aside and save up that. And then at the end of the year, if I'm on the board at the end of the year, then we'll have a little bit of Christmas money. I had no idea that, in fact, it's thousands of dollars. And I'm showing this to you tonight because I think most people don't know this. And the debate about what's too much versus what is not enough, that's a separate debate. And I'm happy to discuss that with anybody. The point I'm making about this is that if you are getting paid this type of money, and this is 1 quarter's worth of expenses and per diems, and to be completely fair, I don't know if this is representative, because I've not been able to dig into this. I don't have the time to go back through and look at every single agenda and every single board packet. I requested just some information, and this is what was sent to me. I don't know if this is representative or not. It might be a complete outlier. But even if it is, if in 1 quarter you have the directors on the water board making between $6,500 and $14,500-ish dollars in 1 quarter, it's fair to ask what are you getting for that? Are you getting your money's worth? Are you getting value for that? And what does that look like? What would that be? So I've been thinking about that a lot. And if you have followed this campaign at all, you know that COVID-19 aside, I have tried to be very visible. I've tried to talk with a lot of people. I have held advisory boards where I've grouped people together, brought people together that have common interests. And I've talked to them about what their concerns are just generally in government and about water. Because I believe that that's the best way to govern, to listen to what the people want and to what they say. So being accountable, being transparent, having a lot of open communication, that's what I would like to see in myself as a board director if I am elected, but also across the board. Now, I can't make that happen. I can only sort of be responsible for myself, but I'm telling you this, that if I am elected, and if I am going to be taking this kind of money from you, and this is money that we pay, then you're going to see a return on that investment. You're going to be up to speed on what's going on in the water district. You're going to have opportunity to talk with me frequently, to talk about your concerns. I am going to hold town halls unless there is a policy passed that prohibits that. And I am going on record to say that if that makes people uncomfortable on the board because they are not doing that, then they probably will try to pass a policy so that I cannot do that. But there will be ample opportunity for us to communicate and talk about what's going on and for me to explain to you what's going on. I think that's absolutely appropriate if we're talking about this kind of money. Every time I go to a conference or I go to another meeting, I'm planning on having some kind of mechanism that I can talk to you about that, either with a report that lives on my website or just something. I've sat through several Vallecitos board meetings, and there sometimes is a section where the directors will be asked to give a report about something that they attended. And to be fair, COVID-19 is happening, so there's probably not as much travel. This report here is from 2019, so there's probably not as much, there isn't as much travel, but across different industries, people are doing conferences still, they're just doing them a little bit differently. So let's say I have the opportunity to go to a conference, even if I don't go, spend $1,000 in a hotel. And you can bet if it's a conference in San Diego, I'm not going to spend $1,000 of your money to go stay in a hotel. I can still report out. I can still go to the talks, and I can go, I can listen to the plenary session, and I can, talk with colleagues, and I can, share the breakouts and things like that. There are ways to report that. During the board meetings, I have heard, no report, or, just 2 or 3 sentences about, oh yeah, I attended this meeting and the next meeting is blah, blah, blah. That's not a report, and that's not worth, $400 or however much they're getting paid, or $200. That's not worth that. So I'm aware of this, and I want you to be aware of it too. And I want you to know that I will be very conscientious about how I'm spending your money. And I'm sure that it's not making people very happy that I'm showing this, but I don't care. I mean, this is public information. You should know this. And, to rely on sort of people not being able to pay attention, or people being too busy to pay attention, or people just to not know, that's not right. This is your money. So I want to show you that, and I want you to ask yourself the question, are you getting your money's worth? And I want to assure you that you will get your money's worth with me. Okay, so I think this is the end of the presentation, but I just want to remind you, you can vote now through November 3rd. You can drop your ballot off at the San Marcos Library. It only takes a couple of minutes. You can vote in person beginning October the 31st through November 3rd. I believe the polls close at 8 p.m. on November 3rd. Again, you may not, your polling place may not be the place that you've traditionally gone to vote. So you need to find that out. And you can find that out by going to the Registrar of Voters website and typing in your address. If you go to the Registrar of Voters website, you can, there's a bar at the top and it says something like I want to find my polling place. Scroll over until you come to the place that says find my polling place. So that's where the URL comes up, where you can type in your address and you can find where you're supposed to go. I would very much appreciate your vote. This is a hard race. I am competing against two people, and I am the best candidate. I am head and shoulders above. I am not bought by developers. I am not censored by the Democratic Party. I will govern with integrity, empathy, energy, compassion, and focus on you, the ratepayers. And I've been saying this since April. We are 6 days out, and if you have not voted, I would very much appreciate your support. I think that it's time to have somebody on the board that isn't phoning it in, that cares about water, that cares about the environment, that is a scientist and can ask critical questions, and will advocate for you, the ratepayer, and recognizes the privilege that it is to sit on that board, not take advantage of the public trust and the public money. And so that's me. One thing that I haven't talked about is that I haven't actually seen a resolution to, and I've been sort of watching the news for it, but Vallecitos is involved in a lawsuit right now, and it's a little bit astonishing. Actually, it's a lot astonishing. Vallecitos is involved in a lawsuit right now, and the lawsuit centers on the desalination plant. And if you've heard me talk about this before, I'm sorry, everything is really slow. I'm trying to get back to the, there we go. Okay. If you've attended these before, you've heard me talk about the Carlsbad desalination plant. Carlsbad desalination plant is where we get about 27% of our water. And since 2015, Vallecitos has been getting water from the desalination plant. And the deal was, or at least Vallecitos thought it was, that they were paying for desalinated water. It was supposed to protect against drought and supposed to provide a higher quality of water. That's what it says all over the Vallecitos website, that's the justification for paying for this higher cost water. So apparently, back in 2016 sometime, there was some kind of misunderstanding about a repair that needed to be made. The repair was never done. There's a misunderstanding between the Carlsbad desalination plant and Vallecitos. The misunderstanding happened. The repair was never done, and and I'm oversimplifying it tremendously, but sort of a switch was flipped so that the desalinated water that is supposed to flow directly from the Carlsbad desal plant to Vallecitos, it was shut off. And here's the kicker. Apparently, nobody noticed that for 16 months. We paid for desalinated water that we didn't get for 16 months. Now, there's another side to the story, of course. The Metropolitan Water Authority has another side. They are saying that, in fact, the contract wasn't for desalinated water. The contract is to make sure that the contract secures a reliable water source to protect against droughts. So the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know this. As somebody who is a representative of the people, elected by the people, that's horrible. For 16 months, we were paying for something that we didn't get according to Vallecitos, and we didn't know, which is another issue. There needs to be some kind of investigation for that. There needs to be an investigation to figure out where the breakdown was in that process. I don't know who's at fault. I'm sure there are a lot of people at fault, and I'm more concerned about making sure that that doesn't happen again, because that's just such an egregious oversight and such an example of us not really having an understanding of what our contractual obligations are. First of all, if it's the case that we thought we were paying for desal water and that was the contract, but in fact that wasn't the contract, that tells me that there's a lack of competency understanding our contractual obligations or what we were paying for. Number two, if we're paying a premium but we're not getting what we paid for, imagine you go into the grocery store and you buy a case of Dasani. You come out and you notice that all of the seals on the caps are broken. And you take a sip and you're like, this tastes like my tap water. That's upsetting because you've just paid a premium for this bottled water that you thought that you were getting, and you thought it was a higher quality of water, but in fact, you didn't get it. So there are so many things wrong with this situation, and it will take a lot of unpacking. I'm not afraid to dig into the weeds of that. That wouldn't be my job on the board, just so that we're clear. That's not something that the board members do. They don't really sort of get in the weeds of that kind of stuff. But I do want to see an investigation. I do want to see someone with expertise in process management to investigate that, not somebody that we hire at the recommendation because they contributed to someone's campaign, or because they're a buddy of somebody, or because, you know, they came and gave us a presentation, so now we're going to hire them. We really need to hire somebody with some expertise. And I was thinking about this because I'm a Six Sigma green belt. It's funny, I have a troll that likes to talk about me on social media, and apparently I don't have any measurable accomplishments. Okay. I'm actually a Six Sigma green belt. So I know a little bit about process management. And, you know, I am sure that either at one of the universities around here, there is a class that teaches Six Sigma. We could, for a very low-ish cost, maybe partner with that class, get them to come in and do that analysis. That would be a way that we don't have to throw bad money or good money after bad to try to resolve this issue. So it's just something that I've been noodling around. We need to get to the bottom of it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that happened. So the lawsuit's for about $6.1 million. I would love to be able to put some of that back into your pockets, because the bottom line is we paid for something we didn't get, and we paid more for that. So I would love to be able to put some of that back into your pockets. And first we need to figure out what happened. And so I'm committed to doing that. I'm committed to exploring that. And the more people I tell about that, the more that they don't understand why so many people were asleep at the wheel about that. I'll also say that once I found out about this, I took the publicly available water quality reports, and anybody has access to these. I found them on the website. I took them and I lined them up according to the timeline of, you know, when we were getting desalinated water, when we were not getting desalinated water, but we thought we were, and then again when we were getting desalinated water. And the water quality reports conveniently showcase water from the different sources that come to Vallecitos. So I just did a quick comparison, and lining it up along that timeline, the numbers are different during the time that we were not receiving desalinated water, but we thought we were. Now, if one of the justifications for paying this premium water is that it is a higher quality, well, that was my first thought. Well, that must be measurable. We have to be able to measure that. And as it turns out, we can. And so looking across those different years and looking across the water quality reports, I noticed some differences. Now, does that mean that I pinpointed exactly what was wrong? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that that I pinpointed, oh, well, here's where the breakdown was, or here's where the quality differences are? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that I noticed something that, had I been on the board, I would have asked a question about, so that the water scientists, the water experts, the people that monitor the quality and do that testing could look into it. And that's my point. Asking the question, not phoning it in, being engaged, being responsible, being responsive to the consumers, to you, the ratepayer. That's what you'll get with me. Okay, so enough about me, enough about my talking. I'm gonna look at these questions that have been written in. Okay, number one, thank you for your transparency, research, and hard work, and sharing so much incredible information. You're welcome. You know what? I think there's a way to show these. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, yes. So I'm going to just scroll through them, and then here's another one. Thank you for acknowledging our traditional peoples of this land. You are very welcome. It's the right thing to do, and I am, I'm trying to do better. Okay, and there's somebody saying, vote for me. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate that. Let's form a group to attend the Vallecitos Water District Board meeting so they hear our concerns. That is a great idea. I will tell you this: the Vallecitos board meetings are not very well attended. There have been several where I've been the only member of the public in attendance, and they're virtual. So as long as you can find the time to go, and the timing is a little bit awkward. It's it's sort of right. A lot of people maybe aren't off of work at that time, or maybe they're trying to put dinner on the table, but it's from 5 to 6, the first and the third Wednesday of every month. So, but as a member of the public, you can go and you can speak. And I will tell you this, my experience being on the school board is that when a room full of parents came with a concern, and I had my finger on the pulse of the community, so I often knew when that was going to happen. I often knew who was going to show up. I knew the questions they were going to ask, and I encouraged them to do it. I would say, yes, you can talk to me about this, but I'm one of only 9 voices. So come, bring your concern, bring it to the board. Figure out amongst yourselves who's going to speak about what, so you don't repeat each other and you don't overlap, and so that you can make all of your points. When people organize around an issue and they come to the board meeting with that concern, people listen. People on boards listen. They have to. You're presenting it in a public forum, and so it can't disappear under the rug. So yes, I encourage that. Come. And I do that fully knowing that everything that I've told you that I want to do, I'm not going to be able to do. And the board might vote all one way and I might vote another way, but I'm still on the board, so I'm still responsible, even though I voted against the measure. And you might be angry with me. That's okay. Hold me accountable. That's what I want, because I truly am hoping to govern based on what the community wants and the community needs. And the only way for me to know that is for us to talk. And the only way for you to understand what's going on at Vallecitos is to be engaged. Okay, so let's see, what's another one? We need you to be our voice and be transparent about what transpires about the desalination plant. Thanks for looking out. Yeah, sure. This issue is, I don't know how it's going to resolve itself. I hope that, we have an understanding and a resolution soon. But like I said, ideally, I'd like to try to put some money back into your pockets. I really believe that, I believe that we, the ratepayers, are owed an explanation. And I believe that, there's been a lot of money that's been paid for not, like, the money's been paid, but the service wasn't rendered. So any other questions? I try to keep these around 45 minutes. And this is the last one before the election. It's really exciting. The campaign is, coming to a close. It's been a wild ride. I'm really proud of what we've done. We've worked really hard, and, we have outworked and outraised all of the other people that are running. I don't know if that's going to translate into a victory. I hope it does. But if it doesn't, it won't be for lack of trying. And if we lose, it's not going to be by a landslide. I am getting too many people that I don't know. When I call them, they say, oh yes, I voted for you. I have a friend that knows you, or I have a friend that has a yard sign in your yard and I trust their judgment. Or I like it that you're a scientist. We need more scientists in office. So we're hearing a lot of really positive feedback. And, it's also the case that I have walked this whole district. I have, not just me, I shouldn't say that. I've had a fabulous team of volunteers, but we have canvassed, not door knocking, but we have walked this whole district. So I didn't mean to take credit for the whole district. I didn't do the whole district. But we have set our feet at every likely voter house. And that's something. That is something. So thank you for joining. I'm very grateful. Please vote. Please consider voting for me. I will work for you. I will be very transparent. I have your best interests at heart. I do want to say that there is probably a mailer coming. The incumbent has loaned himself quite a lot of money, and mail is expensive. We were not able to afford a vast mailer, but we did end up sending out little bits and pieces of mail, sort of micro-targeting, and we walked the districts. That's kind of what we did instead. But it has been the case that the incumbent for the last 2 election cycles has dropped a mailer the weekend before the election, and it's always a negative mailer, apparently. I have no idea what they're going to say about me. Maybe that I'm, some wacky liberal, that, I don't know. I don't even know. But it's coming. That's okay. I can't do anything about that, and I don't know what the content will be, but there probably will be a mailer, and that's just the way politics goes. You have to have a bit of a tough skin, and I do, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud of what we've done. I think we've accomplished a lot. We've worked really hard, and I've had a fabulous team. And I hope that on election night or soon thereafter, we may not even know the results on election night, but soon thereafter, I hope that we have results that put us over the finish line. If not, then we've done the best we can. And that's a win. Looking back and having no regrets, that's a win. So I'm grateful for all of you that have tuned in faithfully each time. I'm grateful for all the people that watch this afterwards, as it's lives on my Facebook page. We will do one more. I will do one on Wednesday after the election, just to let people know how it's going and let you know what the numbers are. And maybe we'll have results then. I don't know, but I will do a short one and just sort of update people. But this is the last official Water Wednesday before the election. So thank you for joining. I'm very grateful. Thank you for all of your support, your help, your questions. And if you know people that live in Division 5 that haven't voted and you think that I'm a worthy candidate, please tell them. Please tell them to vote. It's so important. It is so important. All right. Take care. Good night. Wear a mask. Be safe. And we will see you next week. And hopefully we'll have some good news next week. Take care.